A noise. Muffled but distinct. Sarah's pulse quickened. She was alone, her husband away on business. She crept to the bedroom door, heart pounding like a drum in her chest. Peeking through the crack, she saw nothing. But the unsettling feeling remained. She picked up the phone, dialed 911. "I think someone's in my house," she whispered, her voice trembling. Her voice, tight with fear, relayed her address. The dispatcher's calm tone, a lifeline in the darkness. "Help is on the way, ma'am. Just stay calm." But staying calm was a luxury Sarah couldn't afford. Not with adrenaline coursing through her veins, turning every creak and groan of the house into the footsteps of an intruder. Red and blue lights sliced through the darkness outside. Two officers, Michael and Johnson, approached cautiously, their shadows elongated by the flashing sirens. The dispatcher had relayed what little information they had. Possible break-in, female homeowner, sounds distressed. They entered with guns drawn, senses on high alert. The house was dark, silent except for Sarah's ragged breathing as she hid in a closet, phone clutched to her ear. "They're here," she whispered to the dispatcher, a flicker of hope in her voice. The officers moved through the house, their training taking over. Clear each room, identify potential threats, secure the scene. A figure darted across the hallway, a flash of movement in the dim light. "Police, show yourself!" Officer Michael shouted, his voice echoing in the stillness. He saw the figure again, hand reaching into its waistband. His mind, flooded with years of worst-case scenarios, reacted instinctively. He fired. A single, deafening shot. The figure crumpled to the floor. It was Sarah. She had emerged from the closet, phone still in hand, when the officers entered the hallway. The intruder was her own shadow, her reaching hand merely clutching her phone. The aftermath was a blur of sirens, flashing lights, and frantic voices. Sarah lay dead, a victim of the very system meant to protect her. Officer Michael, his face etched with shock and disbelief, was placed on administrative leave pending an investigation. The dispatcher, her voice thick with tears, replayed the call, searching for something, anything, that could have prevented this tragedy. What went wrong? Was it a case of mistaken identity? A rush to judgment fueled by fear and adrenaline? Or was it something more insidious, a reflection of systemic issues within law enforcement, where implicit bias and the presumption of guilt, particularly towards people of color, can have deadly consequences? Sarah's story, tragically, is not unique. Hers is one name in a long list of lives lost to police violence, often under questionable circumstances. Names like Tamir Rice, Breonna Taylor, and Philando Castile echo in the national consciousness, stark reminders of the human cost of a system rife with flaws. Statistics paint a grim picture. Black Americans are 3 times more likely to be killed by police than white Americans, even when unarmed. Implicit bias training, body cameras, and police reform efforts have been implemented in many cities, but progress has been slow and often met with resistance. The investigation into Sarah's death dragged on for months. Officer Michael, cleared of criminal charges, claimed he acted in self-defense, citing the tense and rapidly evolving situation. The department, while acknowledging procedural errors, stood by their officer. Sarah's family, their grief compounded by a profound sense of injustice, filed a wrongful death lawsuit seeking accountability and systemic change, but true justice seemed elusive. The legal system designed to protect and serve often fails those most in need of its protection. Qualified immunity, a legal doctrine that shields police officers from liability in certain circumstances, has been criticized for creating a culture of impunity. Sarah's death, like countless others, serves as a stark reminder of the urgent need for comprehensive police reform. We must move beyond the rhetoric of a few bad apples and confront the systemic racism and implicit bias that permeate our criminal justice system. This requires a multi-pronged approach, demilitarizing the police, investing in community policing, holding officers accountable for misconduct, and addressing the root causes of crime such as poverty, inequality and lack of opportunity. We must build bridges of trust between law enforcement and the communities they serve. Bridges built on empathy, respect, and a shared commitment to justice and safety for all. This is the legacy we owe to Sarah, and to all those who have lost their lives in the pursuit of a more just and equitable society.